Hey, Discern listeners, Ultimatum Queer Love Reunion, Season 2, Netflix, 2025. Let's check it out.
I can't help but state the obvious. You guys are on different sides of the room. You're not sitting together tonight, and that's a really big shift from where we left you. So, Mel, can you share the status of your relationship with Marie?
With Marie is non-existent.
Okay, so we're learning that Mel and Marie have broken up and have broken the engagement, it looks like. And I'm trying to remember the predictions, which, I can never know. But I think I said that with Dana and Megan and Marie and Mel, that there was a chance that they would have broken up by the time the reunion occurred. But with Brittany and AJ and Haley and Pilar and Kyle and Bridget, it seemed more solid, and they are all sitting together. But we are seeing two couples that aren't sitting together, Marie and Mel and Ashley and Marita, right? Is that the only couple that isn't sitting together? Okay, yeah. So if I was to take a guess, I would say that Mel got cold feet, I'm guessing. She even stated as she was proposing that there are days when she is sure about getting engaged and there are days when she's not. But let's move forward because today I want to get married. So that in all likelihood continued, right? And maybe there was a fight. I don't know. Let's see.
Dana, we had very full-length conversations about how you thought Mel was invaluable to you.
Yeah.
And also, in addition, Marie would have just watched the footage or the show, right? Maybe a rough cut or how it was presented to us. And if so, then Marie would have just learned about how actually close Dana and Mel were when they were, at least in the edit, right? Which, wouldn't be wonderful to witness, even if you were broken up.
Mel, hook up before sitting next to me and talking to me.
Yeah, we had kissed by the time that we had a cocktail party.
And more than that?
After the first cocktail party would have been like where something more
After
happened.
the first cocktail party.
Yeah.
So I think Marie is about to get into what she heard from Haley, actually, that Marie needs to be careful because Dana isn't letting on as to how much Dana and Mel were connecting, which on some level I get because when you're meeting up for everyone, because they were the ultimatum givers, so they were at that 6-woman cocktail, they had the ultimatum receivers and ultimatum givers in separate cocktail parties. At least I believe that's what right? So, but I think Marie is about to lay into Dana for obscuring, because Dana was saying that the whole time all we do is talk about our exes, which could be accurate in a sense, right? And we're only presented with a certain edit. It's quite possible that Dana did talk about Megan the whole time. In fact, if we look at the full story, it seems like Dana, although getting together with Mel, was absolutely still dedicated to Megan, or at least it seems so. So, it could be true.
It was hard to even watch myself. Like, seeing your pain was really, genuinely so hard to see. And, the guilt that I feel just, not sharing that with you.
Okay, so this is good because I think Dana has trouble with guilt, as we all do. But I think when she's differentiated and healthy and stable and relatively calm, that guilt she can accept and feel. But when she's pushed in a corner, she starts to lose differentiation, and she starts, I think, trying to get out ahead of that with various different methods. So Dana shows maturity and differentiation to just admit that, because that is the right thing to say there, to just cut to the core of just yeah, I saw and I feel guilty and I'm sorry.
I guess in that moment I justified that it wasn't my place. And I think that it was delusional at the time to think that with everything that had happened, that there was an appropriate point of having a friendship, and it wasn't fair to you.
So, yeah. And she also is on the tail end of having watched the show and maybe is reminded that's got to be hurtful to Marie. So this is great that she's saying it, taking responsibility. Yeah.
So sorry.
Okay. Please, continue.
I don't know what we were talking about.
And so often at these reunions, I think, why doesn't everyone just do what Dana just did? It's okay. You don't have, in fact, to do that just ends it right there. And you don't have to dwell on it. The room doesn't dwell on it. The audience doesn't start. They might not even remember that. I would speculate that the audience watching this totally forgot that moment because it was so quick, because Dana just cut to the core, and Marie, give her credit, was like, okay. And then you move on. Most of us aren't going to be on a reunion on a reality TV show, but all of us are going to have moments like this with people that we love where we are told something. And if you just immediately take responsibility and apologize, you don't have to prostrate yourself. You don't have to beat yourself up. You don't have to beg for forgiveness or something. You can just be like, oh my God, yeah, right. Oops, sorry. I was coming from this place, but I feel bad and I'm sorry. End of story, right? But so often we get defensive, we ignore, we justify, and then it lasts forever, those conversations.
The question was, what happened with us?
Oh, you don't want to be with me anymore?
Is that true?
I mean, I broke up with her.
Okay, so we're hearing at least the topic sentence is that Marie broke up with Mel. But I imagine that Marie would say, well, yeah, but the reason why I broke up with Mel is because continually I was getting the impression that Mel didn't want to be with me, I'm guessing. I don't know.
Ironically enough, before the episodes aired, how embarrassing would that have been?
When did you break up?
A couple months after we came back home, I started trying to do things a little bit more individual.
Okay, so we're hearing the timeline that they got back to, or they were engaged, right? So that they went back home. I'm trying to remember where that was exactly. And a few months in, then Marie started to reevaluate.
Where did all those lupus books go?
Give me more. What else did you know?
This isn't a jab, Mel. It's a conversation.
I'm speaking.
Really? Because it sounds like you're jabbing. What else do you know?
This is how I speak. Or
You
did
can't
you
answer a
forget?
question with a question.
Okay.
Now that I'm slightly triggered, what is up with you and those Brussels sprouts? What was your issue? Why would you make those?
Why are you so triggered about that?
Dana, did you like those Brussels sprouts?
What's happening? That's got to be some sort of meme at this point. This has got to be one of those moments that people will screenshot and talk about. Like, what an interesting transition. Dana, did you like those? What is happening?
Marie, I promise I don't understand the relevance. What
Did
what
you
do I
watch
not
the
know?
episodes?
Yeah, but
Did you remember? She made you Brussels sprouts. You remember them?
Yeah, but what,
So I know
don't
you don't. I'm going to explain it to you in just a moment. Did you like them?
Yeah, Marie, come on, like stop doing this.
It's
What?
like the
Yes or-
most
I mean, I'm just-
asinine
she liked
things
the
that
Brussels
you're
What do you mean
like.
it's
What
not
do
a
you- like,
thing? It's not asinine. It's
why do you have to do
asinine?
that?
Are
Like,
you
what
serious?
Brussels sprouts?
Okay, so it seems like Marie is hurt that Mel made Marie's signature dish, or one of hers, with Dana. So I'm guessing that for Marie to watch Mel just making out with Dana, which was apparently on the up and up because that was the expectation that that might happen. I don't know what arrangement Mel and Marie had. Maybe they did, but it seems like none of them had arrangements prior to, but maybe they did, and you could see how the production would tell them not to talk about that, or they would edit that out because that would really ruin the whole thing. I don't know, but that would be rough to 9 months later after you've broken up with your ex to watch while you're struggling, and because that was the whole thing, right? That she was struggling and that her and AJ weren't really connecting, Marie and AJ, and to just see Mel and also to not only see Mel and Dana connecting, but to see Mel saying she's in love with Dana, she wants to be with Dana, she wants to leave Marie, seemingly right up until the end, right up until proposing. Literally, maybe just minutes before proposing to Marie, Mel was still, casting out that line of like, "Are you sure, Dana?" I mean, I'm interpreting it, but so I'm guessing Marie is focusing on the Brussels sprouts as an easier thing to talk about, other than all of that. That's just a guess.
Who's running the food truck business now?
This guy.
Which will do well. You don't need
Thanks.
me.
But I do want to touch a little bit on Haley. At one of the cocktail parties, you had a conversation with Marie sharing with her that Dana and Mel were a little bit more romantically inclined and that you had some
Okay, so the receipts bit is interesting. And I wondered at the time what she meant by that. Usually it means, in my world anyway, text exchanges, receipts, right? But maybe there's a more general usage, I don't know. And I think they were referring to the Spotify thing. I think, I'm not sure. But anyway, I'm also glad that they're bringing up, you said romantically inclined, not that you were fucking. So I'm guessing that, so I wonder what's going to happen here.
receipts. So I'm wondering, is the Spotify playlist the receipt?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Let's take a look.
I will say that is a pretty poor receipt, right? I mean, we're talking about receipts. We're talking about, hey, let's meet up to have sex. Okay, let's, that kind of receipt that you have on your partner. Not that there's a sex playlist. I mean, there's so many explanations. Now, maybe they know, right, that Megan would say, I know that Dana would never share our sex playlist with Mel if they weren't at the very least getting together, right? But meanwhile, Megan herself and Haley are getting together by that point. So I don't understand I understand the feelings, but I don't understand the hostility and the accusations.
And all there's been was sex playlists.
Like a sex playlist? I don't know what kind of proof that is. How did their Spotify end up on their TV?
It's a shared private playlist, only shared between Mel and Dana, called 3 Weeks, with a rainbow emoji and a ring emoji.
I don't think that's proof. Like, there's probably good songs on there.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly not a slam. It's not a receipt. It's a sign, for sure. It's not like not a sign, but I wouldn't call it a receipt. But the thing is Haley was right. We all know that Mel and Dana were connecting more than Dana was portraying at the cocktail party, which is fine. Dana doesn't have to shove that in Marie's face. So it's fine that they were connecting. It's fine that Haley was worried about Marie. It's fine that Haley went to Marie. It's understandable that under the circumstances, with the stress of being told that there's more of a connection between Mel and Dana, that Marie would misinterpret, right? And the emotion and the overwhelming feelings of just like, the memories get encoded a little funky, and she twists, she's like, I wonder if they're having sex, and then that melds itself with the memory, and then an hour later she's like, Haley told me that they're fucking or something. It's all understandable.
If they just want to listen to them.
The playlist does have some horny songs, and they are being played at suspicious times of the night.
There's no way you're just cleaning your house listening to some boom boom music.
Maybe. But also, Haley and Megan were getting together at the time. So I understand the feelings, but I don't understand the righteous indignation and the hostility.
Like,
Were you or were you not doing things, though?
Involving yourself.
Megan was the one that called it proof initially. It was probably the wrong word for it, and I should not have reiterated the words proof, receipts, whatever. That's not what it was.
Okay, that's great. Haley is getting out ahead of it and saying, yeah, you're right. I shouldn't have used the word receipts or proof. And I was only going off of what Megan was saying, that Megan was like, that's proof that something is happening. So, yeah, but that's not what it is. What it is that there was indication that you and Mel were a lot closer than what you were indicating at the cocktail party, and I just was worried about Marie's feelings. So I told her I wasn't trying to mess things up for anyone. I just worried about Marie. Now, you could absolutely argue that Haley shouldn't have gotten involved, but it's not like some conniving manipulation.
You didn't say a word at the cocktail party about what was going on between you two, even though everyone knew. You didn't say anything about that. I know you didn't either.
Yeah, that's true. I hadn't thought about that. That there was something going on between Haley and Megan at that point, and they weren't saying anything. As I was saying earlier, I was like, if Haley should warn anyone, it should be Pilar.
I did tell Pilar.
Well, good for you, but that wouldn't have been anyone else's place, would it not be? So
So Haley did tell Pilar. They just did it off camera. They didn't show us. Okay.
If I have suspicions of it, I think that it is my place to tell my friend
Agreed.
my suspicions.
I don't think it's fair for Haley because whatever the case may be, something did happen.
Okay, so all Dana has to say is, well, I don't really remember the whole thing, but yeah, we were connecting a little bit, some, me and Mel for sure. And yeah, at the cocktail party, I wasn't indicating as such because I don't know, I just didn't want to get into it, or I was worried about what people would say, or I didn't want to get in a fight, or I don't know. So yeah, guilty as charged on that. But we never had sex. We did, as you know from the video, we did sort of get together, but we didn't, So there doesn't have to be a fight here.
Period.
Okay, seeing that cocktail party back,
So then Dana says, okay, fair. So that's good. It's kind of rare reunion behavior right here. All right, well, let's adjourn there. Tune in next time when I continue watching. And everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.